Well, Detroit, we are honored today to have Miss Yancey in studio. This is Jay Dilla's mom. Welcome.
Thank you.
Miss Maureen Yancey. Your son got involved in this hip hop movement. How, as far as you are concerned? How did he get involved?
Well, he was always involved with music, period, since he was 2.
Yeah?
And
Since he was 2?
Yes, he was spinning records in Harmony Park at 2.
No kidding.
Yes, every day. So if anyone remembers taking that walk in Harmony Park and seeing this little guy with records, 45s on his arm, mostly Motown picks, spinning records on his Fisher-Price every day for the public.
Jay Dilla. Wow.
That was him. Yes.
Incredible. Incredible. Talk about you for a second.
Okay.
Your family is extremely talented, and it starts with you, Mom, an opera singer?
Well, I mean, I wasn't a professional opera singer, but yes, I mean, that was big in Detroit when I was young. And I happened to have relatives that taught in Duffield School.
No kidding.
Yes.
My daughter went to Duffield.
Wow. Annie Ruth Burns was a music teacher.
Miss Burns.
Yes, and that actually is a cousin of the family.
No kidding.
And I was the only one that loved that type of music, and I was blessed enough to spend time with her on weekends sometimes, and she would use that time to teach me the arias for the Christmas time or whatever, Easter time, and I loved it, but I couldn't show it, of course, and it wasn't a popular thing to do, but
you did it.
Loved it. I loved it.
You have a daughter who plays a bass?
No, Dilla played everything.
Dilla played everything. I know he played
Cello,
bass, keys,
everything.
cello.
Oh yes, that was his what he learned at Farwell.
No kidding.
Yes, he excelled at it.
When he would talk to you about things he wanted to do you remember any one particular thing that he would talk about he wanted to do, maybe didn't get a chance to do?
Only music, period.
Just music.
And he did that.
All the time.
He did that. Nothing could take him away from it. Not even my direction, changing his schools, insisting that he stay in aeronautic school, didn't matter.
He still wanted to do his music. So
he was going to do that. He told me that.
Yeah?
He said, I'll have to suffer the consequences because I'm going to do my music.
Wow.
What could I say?
Wow. That's about all you could say is wow.
I was stunned that he stood in front of me and said it, but I was actually reprimanding him for a night prior where he stayed in the studio to do a session with Amp Fiddler. And he had lab week that week at Davis Aerotech. So.
Benjamin O. Davis, yeah, the Aerotech School. That's an amazing
Yes.
story. And this downtown sort of area is your area.
Yes.
Yeah, McDougal, so we're,
Well, I was raised in a Black Bottom.
Black Bottom.
Macomb and Elmwood.
Ooh.
Right by the cemetery.
Music was what Jay did.
Yes.
Did he talk about anything else, even a little bit?
Outside of music?
Yeah.
The only thing that he didn't do that he said that he told us in younger years that he was do was to have a car that only held 2 people.
Really?
Yes. Because when we did drive, the entire family always went everywhere together. So, it was like
Good
that.
thing.
Yeah. So I think he had dreams of maybe having that sports car with just a 2-seater.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
But he did take that, though. I mean, when you're a producer, you're the head of a family.
Yeah.
So
He
you got
most
people in the
definitely
studio.
was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you go to the studio with him ever?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yes.
How long were those sessions?
Well, his sessions, I would always go home because he stayed. There was an unlimited amount of time.
No clock.
He would go at night when he was free to have the entire studio, and he'd be there till morning. This was his life, his breath.
So true. I mean, he either wrote or produced Erykah Badu,
Yes.
A Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, of course, The Roots. Common was here the other day.
Yes, I got to see him.
Oh, you got to see him.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my granddaughters works at the Fillmore, and she told me about it and asked me would I be her guest because she was off that day.
Oh.
And we had just spent the weekend together, just having a girls' day with Paige, and my other granddaughter, my daughter's daughter Faith. We spent the entire day starting with breakfast and ended like at the a.m. hours. We
That's
just did
good.
everything, shopped, movies, everything.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Your son has been noted as like one of the greatest in the field of hip hop music.
Yes.
Um, did you, I mean, it's a rhetorical question to ask. Did you ever imagine, but did you?
No, I never imagined. That's just the honest truth.
How far did you think he'd really go with this music thing?
Well, I knew I loved it, but I'm biased, of course, and there was never ever anything that I heard that wasn't pristine.
Yes.
And he blended jazz into his even, rap music. He knew classical. It was something he might do a piece of an intro, and he knew that I would be upstairs in that kitchen just excited and wanted to come down the steps. He caught me a few times. And I get to the top two stairs, and he'd meet me at the bottom looking at me
He
and
knew.
say, "What are you doing, lady?" That's how he addressed me at that
Beautiful.
time. I'm like, I know. Nobody can enter that quarters when he's working, but he did it on purpose,
Did the two of you ever talk about recording you?
Yes, actually he did. He was going to use a cappella group that my husband and I had at the time, and we were called the Larks. We sang at different churches around the city, and he had told me that he wanted to use us at one point in some of his recordings, but he never got around to it.
Not getting around to it. Wow, that would have been amazing, though.
Yes, it would have been nice.
That would have been amazing. His legacy, he's also been his community awareness and his effort to give back has been
yes.
tremendous.
Oh,
Talk
yes.
about some of that.
Well, I'll tell you, Dilla was a compassionate, giving person. I decided that I would try to live the way that he would have done here. He embraced Detroit. He loved Detroit. He loved his church. And he only joined the one church. That was Vernon Chapel, AME, right there in Conant Gardens. And even though he stopped going frequently at the age of 16, I mean, he was well-grounded. He knew right from wrong, but he was totally into the industry at that time, and he totally had no time. He had deadlines. Like you said, the people that he produced for, they all had deadlines. These people were big already.
Yeah.
And one thing he did was to make sure that no one ever was stressed to meet a deadline. He never wanted that to happen, that someone was in trouble because they had to ask for an extension or they couldn't put their music on time. He was very conscious of that.
Wow. For those hip-hop heads, he adamantly talked about working with a tribe called Quest
Yes.
and the music. And he was so adamant about, listen,
Yeah.
don't put me side by side with that. That was business.
Yes, it is.
That is not who I am or what I'm about.
Exactly.
I thought that was such a brilliant thing
But
to
it's
do,
true.
to be himself and stand within himself,
He had
to
to.
speak up on that.
He had no choice. He was, very selective of his friendships, but very dear with his friendships. They were.
And stated he wasn't totally aware of what all they were doing with that music too.
You're right. Of
Yeah,
course.
and that's what
he
ma-
had an inkling, and of course, things happen and people do just as they will.
Yeah.
When the cat's away. So it was sort of that kind of thing, but he didn't stress. Even when I would say something about things that I thought might be wrong, he said, well, don't worry about it, lady. It's a time for everything. And he would
Beautiful.
always tell me that, and I'd be angry sometimes. But he said, don't worry about it. It's a time for everything. So he had a calm about him. He never got too upset. But if he did get very upset, then he just closed the doors. Nobody was coming downstairs. He put on his headphones and he's in another land, because he breathed music.
That's beautiful. I am so glad you spent a few minutes with me to.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm excited every time I come to Detroit. I'm excited now. It's, I spent 65 years here in my life before I left.
And for those who don't know, you now live.
I live in Puerto Rico, Agua Dilla, of course, as we would say, Agua Dilla.
Agua Dilla. That's beautiful.
Yes.
And how do you like it?
I love it. I love it.
Was that a gift from Dilla?
I believe so. It happened like that. My new husband is a gift from Dilla. I met him at a Dilla event.
No
It's just
kidding.
like, yes, actually.
That's
Yes,
beautiful.
actually. So it just takes doing what's right, following the way you know you need to go, and staying happy. Music does that for a person, you know.
It's the only reason I'm sitting here having an opportunity to talk to you is because of the music.
Exactly, exactly.
Blessings to you and thank you very,
Well, thank
very
you
much.
so very much.
Miss Yancey, Jay Dilla's mom. James DeWitt.